Children, in today's class of NS, I am going to revise you the topic of Fit for Health. That is the first lesson of your prescribed text state syllabus. Okay, and this is the same as that you have learnt in the previous year's topic of food components. So this is the same, and we will cover some of the topics that we have not covered in that textbook. Okay, that is a simple part that is present. We can cover with revising the from the beginning. Okay, are you ready, children? Okay, let's start. So in this lesson of food components, as we are learning as food for health. What is the lesson name? It is food for health. Why do we need food, children? We need food for energy, to keep our health in good condition, for growth and proper development of our body, isn't it? So to protect ourselves from various diseases, we take the food. You know very well, isn't it? So in this lesson, we have studied about the components of food. That is, our food contains various components that we eat contains various components known as nutrients, which give us energy and also help for the growth and development of the body and resist of our body from various diseases. Okay, so in fact, the lesson mainly depends upon the nutrients that are present in the food that we take. Okay, so what are the various nutrients that are present in our food? They are carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins and minerals. In these nutrients, these are all nutrients or components of food. Nutrients or components of food. Is it okay? So carbohydrates, proteins and fats are macronutrients, whereas vitamins and minerals are micronutrients. You know very well. So carbohydrates are energy giving foods, proteins are body building foods, fats are also contain and they give us energy, and vitamins and minerals are micronutrients. They are to be taken in plenty, but they contains very much limited amounts of nutrients, that is they are known as micronutrients. Okay, so these are the nutrients that are present in our daily intake of food. So what are the different sources of these nutrients? Plants and animal sources, as you know well. We get food from plants and animals. So from plants like carbohydrates are present in the cereals. Carbohydrates are present in cereals, tubers, jaggery and sugars. Mostly carbohydrates are present in whole cereals, we can say. Cereals, tubers, jaggery, sugars. In fruits and vegetables also we get carbohydrate levels. And proteins. Coming to proteins, you get proteins from the milk intake and fish, eggs and also pulses. Mostly pulses, beans and all. They contain proteins. Pulses, eggs, meat, fish, etc. They contain the proteins. They are body building foods. Carbohydrates are energy giving foods. Fats are present in oils and ghee, vanaspati, that is dalda we say, isn't it? So cheese, butter, all they contain fats in them. Is it clear? And meat also contain a fat in it. And vitamins and minerals. These are present mostly in vegetables, green leafy vegetables and fruits. Green leafy vegetables and fruits. Is it clear, children? So this is about the food for health. Hope you have understood this. Children, you might be seeing in the government schools as the midday meal program was started, where the government produces they serves the midday meal to the children to maintain that is to enhance the children with the nutritive values. Okay, so they need the children to be fit and healthy, to concentrate well in their studies also. So to meet their nutritive levels, they serve the food with all the nutrients with the daily meals, where the midday meals contains the vegetable rice, eggs, sweet pongal, and many items like chickpeas and so on. So you can say that a midday, the primary objective of a midday meal program in every government school is to provide a cooked meal as well as to improve the nutritive values of the children. First one is to improve the nutritive value of the children. Midday meal, what is the objective of the nutritive value of children? So this is the main objective or aim of midday meal for children. Aim of midday meal program for children is to improve the nutritive value of the children mainly. And every food item is made up of one or more ingredients where it meets all the, so it contains the components present, all the components present in them. So it can meet all the nutritive values. Okay. And next we can say, these nutrients, as you know very well, they give energy to them and provide them for the proper nourishment and growth and development of the children too. So they help them to resist against the diseases and concentrate mainly on their studies. Okay, so to improve the nutritive value, thus improving them to concentrate on the studies. Concentrate on the studies, because the students who join in these schools or mainly or at the poverty level or below poverty level. So to meet the nutritive value of the children, of this type of children who suffer from hunger, may not concentrate on the studies well. So they are provided with the midday meal program. Hope you have understood about the aim of the midday meal program. Okay children, to concentrate on their studies to improve the nutritive value of the poverty and below poverty range children. Mostly all the children who join in the school need to concentrate on the studies. If they have the proper energy to do so, they can concentrate on the studies well. So they are given with the all the with the food that contains all the nutrients in them, where a food contains more or more, two or more ingredients with which it is being prepared. Okay children, so that is the importance of the midday meal program. Next topic is, do you know about the nutrients present in chickpea? So in the midday meal program, they are provided with the chickpea. You know very well, the chickpea is made of groundnuts, jaggery and a little fat in it, isn't it? So groundnuts, they are better for growth, that is the pulse, the nuts, so which improves the growth and development of their bodybuilding. So they are protein content. And jaggery, they are very well versed with the iron content in them. So calcium, iron, it's very much important for the children for the growth and development, isn't it? So we can say the nutrients present in the groundnuts are proteins and fats, and in the carbohydrate, that is, they contain the carbohydrate levels also in them, a little bit of the carbohydrates which is present in the jaggery also. You know very well, jaggery contains the carbohydrates. So carbohydrates are present, proteins are also present in the groundnuts, proteins and fats also present in the groundnuts. So chickpea is made up of groundnuts and jaggery, where groundnuts contains proteins and fats and jaggery contains carbohydrates. So with these carbohydrates, proteins and fats, which serve as the protein energy nutrition for them, where we can avoid the malnutrition children. So chickpea provides a good nutritious diet for the midday meal program, we can say it. Okay, next, coming to the next question that arises is, so what are macronutrients and what are micronutrients? I have already explained you that carbohydrates, proteins and fats are the macronutrients, and vitamins and minerals are the micronutrients, you know very well. And why do cricket players take the drink during the break? So you know very well that the cricket players use the glucose as a drink for them. isn't it? So it gives them instant energy. Okay, so as it is a carbohydrate, and you know very well that the carbohydrates gives us energy. So glucose contains the sugars which are carbohydrates, and they give them the instant energy to, and as is a type of carbohydrate which are energy yielding foods. So the cricket players use a drink in a break to get the energy for their play. Next, make a list of food items that are rich in carbohydrates. I have told you that the carbohydrate rich foods are cereals, tubers, jaggery, sugars, and fruits and vegetables also contains this carbohydrates in them. So mainly carbohydrate foods are rice, cereals, as you know very well. Cereals, they are rice, wheat, barley, maize, jowar, all the millets, remaining millets, all contain the carbohydrates, and along with the tubers, carrot, beetroot also contains the turnip, they contain the carbohydrate levels in them, and along with the fruits, jaggery, they contain sugars in them. Sugars itself contain the carbohydrates. These are cereals, and so cereals. These are the food items which contains the nutrients called as carbohydrates in them. Okay, the next question is that carbohydrates are usually present in the form of starch and sugars in the food. You know that plants produce the sugars first, later they are converted to starch. They produce sugars first and later they convert to starch. So you will be learning about this in the lesson nutrition in the plants. Okay, next, how do you test the presence of starch in a given substance? If it is a potato or rice or any wheat or whatever the example that I have shown you. So how do you test the presence of starch? So what are the materials required? For this you need test for starch. So what are the materials required for testing the starch? You need a iodine solution to test, and also the sample to test. Iodine solution and a food sample. You need a food sample to test, and you need a knife or anything that is a test tube, or you can take a petri dish and so on to do this. Okay, a knife to, if it is a potato, you need a knife to cut and so on. Okay, so these two are the main items that are required, and the remaining you can add. So depending upon the food sample, you will be taking the materials. Okay, and next we add 2 to 3 drops of iodine solution over the food sample that is taken. If it is a rice flour or rice, you will be taking in a form of flour. Wheat or rice or barley, you will be taking in the form of flour and making it into a paste, and to that paste you add a few drops of iodine solution. If it turns to dark blue or black, it confirms the presence of starch in that particular substance. Okay, so the color changes to test for starch. The observation is color turns dark blue or black. This is a confirmation test for starch. Is it clear? So on the addition of dilute iodine solution, if the sample turns dark blue or black, it confirms the presence of starch in that particular sample or substance. So hope you have understood, children, the test for starch now. Okay, shall we move for the next question now? So what is the next question here? That is, in the table 1, they have given you the presence of nutrients. So carbohydrates are in the level of 67 grams or 414 per, so for amount of 100 grams, the amount of 100 grams, the nutrients present in a substances, they have given carbohydrates 67 grams, proteins 11 grams that you have to take. you have to take the percentage of the nutrients that you can, the presence of nutrients that you have to take. Fats 11 grams, iron 9.1 milligrams, okay. Vitamin A 202.5 milligrams. So you know very well that is milligram is a very less quantity when compared to the grams. And vitamins and minerals, that is calcium 367 milligrams, vitamin B1 0.6 milligrams, vitamin B2 0.55 milligrams, vitamin C 15.3 milligrams, folic acid 21.1 milligrams, and niacin 6.3 milligrams. Seeing this table, you have to answer the questions given below there. Which components are in large quantity? So by seeing the table, you can say that the carbohydrates, proteins and fats are taken in large quantity, whereas in grams, whereas the vitamins and minerals are taken in very lesser quantity, that is in milligrams. You can, by seeing the table, you can answer those two questions easily. Next, in table 2, find the presence of starch, they have asked. So cooked rice, you know very well, if the rice, if you take a rice, mashed cooked rice, and test it with the dilute iodine solution, then you can see that it turns to dark blue or black. If you add few drops of iodine solution over the cooked rice, it turns to dark blue or black, confirming the presence of starch in cooked rice. Egg yolk, it does not turn to dark blue or black. So you can say that starch is absent. Wheat flour, if you test the wheat flour with the iodine solution, it turns to dark blue or black. So we can say that starch is present. So in this table, you have seen that cooked rice and wheat flour contains carbohydrates. Cooked rice and wheat flour contain carbohydrates, whereas egg yolk doesn't contain the carbohydrates. Egg yolk, no carbohydrates are present in them. Okay, there are no carbohydrates in egg yolk. Next, what does the egg yolk contain then? Egg yolk contain proteins and fats. What does the egg yolk contain? Egg yolk contain proteins and fats. How do you confirm that it contains proteins and fats? You can, now you have to do the confirmation test for proteins. What is the confirmation test for proteins? You know very well. For the protein test, you need two components, mainly chemicals. Chemicals required for the protein test. Test for proteins. Test for proteins are number 1, copper sulfate solution. Copper sulfate solution, and number 2, sodium hydroxide solution. What is number 2? Sodium hydroxide solution for confirmation of proteins in a substance. You take a substance, if it is now you have taken a egg yolk, you can take egg yolk or milk or any pulse. You can, if it is a pulse, you have to make it a flour and again do a paste, and then you have to test with these two solutions. So this is of 2% copper sulfate solution, and this is 10% sodium hydroxide solution. 2% copper sulfate solution is this in the sense that 2 grams of copper sulfate in 100 ml of water. 10% sodium hydroxide solution in the sense that 10 grams of sodium hydroxide in 100 ml of water you are taking and testing with the substance or the sample that is given. So in a given sample, if this is a test tube, you can take a sample that is given. If it is a milk or egg yolk, anything, you can take it, and for this sample you are adding these two solutions. 2 grams, that is 2 drops of copper sulfate and 10 drops of sodium hydroxide solution you are adding to it with the help of a dropper. Okay, so when you add to it, it turns to which color? It turns to violet color. Violet or purple color. Violet or purple color, which proves the conformation test. This is the conformation test for proteins. Proves that the substance or the sample contains proteins. If the substance turns violet color on addition of copper sulfate solution and sodium hydroxide solution, then we can say that the sample or the substance contains protein in them. Is it clear, children? So from this you can understand that pulses, fish and eggs, meat, if they contain proteins in them, they convert this when the chemicals like copper sulfate and sodium hydroxide are added to them, they convert to or they turn to violet or purple color. Is it clear? So that is about the protein test. Hope you have understood, children. Milk, egg and pulses are protein rich foods. Okay. What are protein rich foods? Milk, egg and pulses. Protein rich foods are milk, eggs and pulses. These are protein rich foods. Proteins are required for the formation of muscles and other body organs. So they are called as bodybuilding foods. So for the formation of muscles, the proteins are required and they help for the growth and development of the body and regulate the biochemical reactions in our body. They repair the wounds of on the body and they help to build the immunity against the diseases. They help to build the immunity against the diseases also. So we have to take regularly, we have to take the proteins in our diet. Okay, children? So why it is required to take the pulses, eggs every day? It is required to take the pulses every day in order to get the growth, that is to develop the growth and development in our body and also get immunity against the diseases where the proteins regulate the biochemical reactions in our body and help as the body building foods. Is it clear, children? So proteins are body building foods. Carbohydrates are energy giving foods. What are proteins? Proteins are body building foods. What are carbohydrates? Carbohydrates are energy giving foods. Okay. Next, coming to the fats. If you take that, do all the food items contains proteins in them? No. We cannot say all the food items contain proteins in them. They are present in certain food items only. Not all the food items are with the proteins, we can say. So protein is present in eggs, pulses and milk. Okay, beans and all. They contain proteins in them. Soya bean, if you take soya bean flour contain proteins. It contains proteins because when you test with the solution that I have told you, they turn to violet or purple as it is given in your textbook table. That is, they have asked to test with soya bean flour. If you test ghee, whether it contains proteins? No, no proteins. They do not contain proteins. No protein is present in ghee. And milk if you take, yes, milk contains proteins. Milk contains protein in it. Okay, contains proteins. So we can say that all the food items that we take do not contain protein, where ghee is a component which does not contain protein in it, though it is developed from the milk product itself. That is, from the milk ghee is being produced. Ghee contains fats which are energy rich foods but does not contain protein in them. Okay, when we eat curd rice, our palm becomes oil, isn't it? Curd rice. Or when you take the bhajina paper, the paper becomes oily. Why is it so? Why does the paper turns translucent? So when you observe the paper under the source of light, you can see that it turns translucent in nature. You know the nature of translucent, that if it cannot be seen clearly, partially it is been observed. So what is it? Why does it appear so? So it is a property of fats, that the fats convert the paper into translucent. When an object is placed over the paper, then if if the paper turns translucent, then we can see that the substance contains fats in them. So test for fats. In the test for fats, children, here to confirm the presence of starch, especially in the curd, as you said, or the samosa that is taken in the paper, both of them, if you take the curd, when you eat the curd rice, your hand become the butter. Due to the presence of butter in it, our hands become oily in nature. Is it clear? And also, if you take a samosa or bhaji on a piece of paper, the paper turns translucent. So this is the thing, because it happens because of the presence of fats in them. How can you confirm the presence of fats in a given substance? The confirmation test for fats is paper turns translucent. Paper turns translucent. That is, when you keep the substance that contains the fats over a paper, then the paper turns translucent. Okay, so how is it? To confirm the presence of the fat in a given substance, a piece of paper and a ceramic mortar. Ceramic mortar in the sense to make it into a fine powder. So how to do, or the experiment here, it is given as the groundnuts. Groundnuts, you know very well that they contain proteins and fats, I told you earlier. To prove that the groundnuts contain fats in them, we can do this simple test. So by taking a piece of paper and crushing the groundnuts, that is, and make groundnuts into a paste with a ceramic mortar, and place the paste over this white paper and rub it for a few seconds. Okay, so while rubbing like this, we have to rub it on a piece of paper. So while rubbing on a piece of paper, then leave it for few seconds. Then after some time, the white paper turns translucent. From this we can understand, that is, it may be transparent or more, that is, we can say that it is partially transparent also. Okay, so the groundnut seeds contains fats in them. If the paper turns translucent, then we can say that the substance contains fats in them. Okay, so this is the confirmation test for the fats. Okay, children, hope you have understood the confirmation test for fats now. Next, the presence of fats. Vada, bhaji, bonda, all, palakova, you know that the kova sweets, they also contain fats in them because they are made of ghee, isn't it? So bhaji, bonda, all, pakodi, all are fat items because they are deep fat fried items, as you know very well. They contain more fats in them. Contain fats in them. And whereas if you take the wheat flour, and if you rub it on a piece of paper, it doesn't turn to translucent because it contains starch but not fats in them. So it does not contain fat. It does not contain fat. Okay, so this is a confirmation test for fats we have seen. And next, make a list of items which are rich in fats, as I said you earlier, butter, the oils, vanaspati, dalda, ghee, all these which are rich in fats, we can give a list of items. Okay, so next question, why do the elders suggest us to take the green leafy vegetables? So what is the main, after fats, you know very well that vitamins and minerals are very important for our diet, isn't it? Vitamins and minerals, where are they present? As you know very well that vitamins and minerals are present in the green leafy vegetables and fruits, isn't it? We get vitamins through all these things, where they supply fiber also. So fiber in our diet prevents us from constipation. So they help for easy bowel movement and prevent us from constipation, where fiber is present in the fruits and vegetables in plenty. So we are supposed to take fiber rich foods to avoid the constipation, to problems of health problems, that is the problems that are related to the digestive tract. Okay, so fibers in the food help in digestion. So from this we can understand that fibers in food help in digestion. Fibers in food help in digestion and they prevent constipation. What is this constipation? Mostly fibers they are also called as roughages. Fibers are also called as roughages, a kind of carbohydrates which cannot digest, but they help the food to digest. They cannot digest directly, but they form the bulk in our diet. They form the bulk. Whenever you eat the green leafy vegetables or the groundnuts more and more, you feel somewhat bulk in your stomach, isn't it? But they help the food to digest. It takes place as if you are ready to go to motion and so, isn't it? So they help in digestion and they help for free bowel movement. They help for free bowel movement and help in the easy movement in your digestive tract. Okay, so that is the main functions of the fiber. Digestive related problems can be cured if you take more fibers in your diet. And also when you are suffering from loose motions and so on, you have to stop the fibers to some extent. Later again you can prolong. Okay, so green leafy vegetables, they contain fiber in them. As you know very well, green leafy vegetables, they contain the vitamins and minerals, and vitamins and minerals are protective foods. What are vitamins and minerals? They are protective foods, whereas fats are energy yielding foods. They give us energy. Fats also give us energy. Carbohydrates are energy yielding foods. Proteins are body building foods. Fats also contain energy for us. They give us energy. And whereas the vitamins and minerals are protective foods. What are vitamins and minerals? Vitamins and minerals are protective foods. They protect us from various diseases and cause the disease resistance in our body, and hence they are called as protective foods. They are mainly present in fruits, vegetables and green leafy vegetables, and they contain fiber in them, and so our elders say to take more of the greens in our diet to adjust ourselves and make ourselves free from the constipation. Okay, so that's why our elders suggest us to take more of the green leafy vegetables daily and help in free bowel movement in our digestive tract and prevent the constipation. This is the main question that you have to learn, an important point in this lesson. Next, what are the reasons for anemia? As you know very well, up to now we have